We begin with political stories. The People's Democratic Party has dismissed Atiku Abubakar's resignation as insignificant, describing his exit as good riddance to bad rubbish. Atiku has formally left the PDP, the party co-founded in 1998, amid reports of a planned presidential bid under the African Democratic Congress-led coalition. In a letter dated July 14, 2025, he cited irreconcilable differences and a departure from the party's founding values. PDP's Deputy National Publicity Secretary Ibrahim Abdullahi blamed Atiku for the party's 2023 loss, accusing him of failing to unite stakeholders and allowing key defections. He noted this marks Atiku's fourth departure from the PDP and stressed that the party remains an institution not built around any one individual. The PDP said it is focused on rebuilding and remains the longest-standing political party in Nigeria's Fourth Republic. Meanwhile, spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress, Felix Morka, says former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is Nigeria's incomparable political wanderer. Morka said this in reaction to Atiku Abubakar's announcement of his resignation from the People's Democratic Party in a letter dated July 14. In a post on X on Wednesday, Morka mocked the former Vice President for what he called his repeated pattern of abandoning his party in pursuit of his presidential ambition. He described Atiku as the weakest link in Nigeria's partisan democracy. In the meantime, veteran journalist and former presidential aspirant Dele Momodu has, officially resigned from the People's Democratic Party. And the letter dated July 17, 2025, and addressed to the PDP Ward Chairman in Ihievbe, Owan, East Local Government Area of Edo State, Momodu announced his immediate departure from the party. The renowned media mogul cited what he called the hijack of the party by anti-democratic forces, accusing them of eroding the party's founding principles. He described the PDP as a carcass, now controlled by individuals who, in his words, have undermined internal democracy. He noted that it is honorable to relinquish the remains of the PDP and align with the new coalition party, the African Democratic Congress. Momodu said his resignation was a necessary step to uphold democratic values. In Labour news, the Nigeria Labour Congress has expressed deep concern over the country's poor global ranking on workers' rights, revealing that Nigeria has once again been listed among the 10 worst nations for labour rights violations. The NLC described the ranking as a national embarrassment, calling on employers to take the lead in reversing this negative trend. NLC President Joe Ajaero made the remarks at the 68th Annual General Meeting of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association in Lagos on Wednesday. Ajaero, represented by NLC Deputy President Adewale Adeyanju, highlighted the latest 2025 ITUC Global Rights Index, which placed Nigeria among the worst violators of workers' rights worldwide. He urged the NECA to set an example by promoting respect for labor laws and upholding the principles of collective bargaining. And now to security-related stories. The Defense Headquarters Assessment Team has commended troops of Operation Fasanyama for their resilience and dedication in combating terrorism and criminal activities in Nigeria's northwest and parts of north-central region. During an assessment visit to the OPFY headquarters in Gusau, Zamfara State, the team lead, Major General W.B. Idris, praised the troops for their professionalism and interagency coordination. He emphasized the importance of continuous evaluations to ensure operational alignment with national security goals and improve counterterrorism efforts. The theater commander, Major General Oluyinka Shoyele, expressed appreciation for the DHQ visit, noting its role in boosting morale and enhancing cooperation. The team also visited frontline troops in Bugundu and Safe local government areas, reaffirming the government's commitment to restoring peace. Meanwhile, the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, has described as genocide and terrorism Tuesday's attacks in Jebu village of Riyom local government area of Plateau State. The governor was speaking during his emergency visits to the affected village. Immediately he arrived at the Yakubu Gowon airport in Pang from an official assignment. The governor promised to improve the security architecture of the area, and while assuring that culprits will be arrested and brought to justice.
But let me promise you, Riyom will not come down. Amen. By the grace of God, we will use every means at our disposal to make sure that this genocide comes to an end. Amen. I don't know who will tell me that what happened yesterday is farmers' herders clash. No, it's not true. Terrorism. This is an act of terrorism. This is pure genocide. And I can assure you that we'll escalate this matter. Please be patient. I want you to be patient. Like Dr. Jambol said, we will not throw the baby at the bathwater. There are gallant soldiers that have stood in defense of the land, and we thank them. But certainly there are bad eggs. And we are going to take appropriate steps to make sure that these bad eggs are fished out. We cannot continue like this, and people who are not ghosts or spirits attack communities and disappear into thin air.
Let us rest. This seems to be the cry of some senior citizens who are retired military personnel earlier on Wednesday when they barricaded the entrance to Nigeria's Ministry of Finance in Abuja in protest over unpaid allowances. The retirees from the first to fourth quarter retirement set of 2024 erected canopies, placing chairs at the gate of the facility to stop staff from gaining entry. A representative from the Military Pensions Board, Adamu Kichina, however, gave assurances to the protesters that their entitlements will be processed by the board following the conclusion of their documentation.
1st of April last year, which is 2024, being their disengagement day, while we third and fourth quarter disengaged last year, July 1st, last year. And up to now, Nigerian Army decided to pay us both the gratuity and the SDA, which like 5 months or 6 months ago, they come out by themselves that they know they paid us last year.
You people heard what the PAMSEC said. He's working with us to make sure that you people get what you are looking for. And we have already told you, we on our own part have been working on that thing too. And rest assured, before next week runs out, you will get your payments. From here on out, if you people have any problems with your payments, please get in touch with anybody at the board. It doesn't look good for you to come here to start saying that you are not paid, even if really you are not paid.
And we are grateful that the PANSEC make us to understand that the minister is not in the country, but intervened, and he told us that, and you too, both of you said that within today till next week Friday, we will all smile.
In honor of the late president, the third-day Fidel prayer for former President Muhammadu Buhari was held on Wednesday. It was a time for friends and relations to gather and pray for the forgiveness of the deceased sins and to seek blessings for the afterlife. Vice Presidents Kashim Shettima and Katsina State Governor Diko Rada were among dignitaries at the event. Earlier, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and former Governor of Kaduna State Nasir El-Rufai visited the grave site of the late former president.
Every soul shall taste the torment of death. Death is an inevitable destiny that is hanging on everyone's neck. We should all consider ourselves as travelers, with our bags and baggages waiting for the train. From where? From God. To the family of the late president, it was not a loss to the people of Daura Emirate or the people of Katsina State. It was a major loss to the nation and to the African continent. People from far and wide had called to commiserate with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the sad demise of our elder statesman. The president was personally pained by the loss. He sent me to London earlier on to go and visit the late president.
A break will do here on the news. When we return, SEC investigates 79 firms, warns Nigerians against fraudulent investments. We'll tell you more in a short while. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, a civil society group, Oduduwa Solidarity Network, has demanded the immediate suspension of Engineer Farouk Ahmed, CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, over allegations of financial misconduct. The group claims Ahmed spent approximately $5.5 million, that's about 8 billion naira, of public funds on the foreign education of his children, describing this as a blatant abuse of office, undermining Nigeria's anti-corruption efforts. The call follows similar demands from lawyers and activists, urging the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, and the Nigerian Senate to investigate. NMDPRA denies the allegations, calling them baseless and part of a smear campaign. So far, neither Ahmed nor the authority have issued official responses addressing the claims directly.
To suspend Engineer Farouk Ahmed from office pending the conclusion of comprehensive investigation by relevant agencies. This is not unprecedented. Presidents before him have taken similar actions. In 2022, former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs Betta Edu was suspended over allegations of financial impropriety, and in 2017, Babacho Lawal, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, was removed from the misuse of funds earmarked for internally displaced persons. The principle was the same. Public trust must not be eroded. Should any infractions be established, we expect swift prosecution in line with Nigeria's anti-corruption laws, and no officials, no matter how highly placed, should be above the law. Let it be known that we approach this matter not with malice, but with fidelity to a country in search of rebirth. Our silence in the face of such glaring contradictions would amount to complicity.
It's unfortunate that the crisis of confidence being created in the mind of the people by those who found themselves in power is not even being taken seriously by those who are supposed to really look deeply into this. It is disgraceful, it is shameful, it's unfortunate, and it is quite pathetic that we have a refinery, we have some refineries that we celebrated was working, and we called musicians and called dance hall people, but today they are telling us it's unworkable and they are going to sell it, and nobody is asking questions.
Related developments, the Securities and Exchange Commission has launched investigations into 79 suspected Ponzi schemes across Nigeria, including one linked to FF Tiffany, which allegedly defrauded thousands of Nigerians and diaspora investors with false promises of high returns. The SEC said billions of naira have been lost and confirmed that law enforcement agencies are involved. The Commission reiterated warnings against unregistered investment platforms offering unrealistic profits and vowed to prosecute perpetrators under the Investment and Securities Act once investigations are complete. To speak more on this, I am joined by an equity trader at Zcrest Securities Limited, Oluwatobi Adesonya. Mr. Adesonya, it's nice to have you join us on the news.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Now, we're talking 79 Ponzi schemes. Why do we have a proliferation of such in Nigeria?
Well, one can even say that there's likelihood that the number might even be more than that. But probably those are the ones that are under investigations for now. You know, as we all know, we can't overemphasize the importance of investments in education and how people need to be, you know, are financially literate and things to consider before investing. But what we have SEC investigating at the moment is, at the 79 firms, right? And like I said, there's a likelihood that there might even be more than that, right?
And we're hearing that SEC is saying that even law enforcement agencies are involved. Now, how possible is that, and what is the best way to deal with such a situation?
So if we look at the new Investment and Securities Act of 2025 that was signed into law around March 2025, earlier this year. So there are penalties already. There are fines already. I mean, it's as hard as going for a jail term of about 10 years, you know, paying fine for about 20 million or so. So there are penalties in place. And if we now ask what can SEC do on their own part, you know, they can do a lot of investments, maybe education campaigns, which they are doing already. But just that no matter how much they do these things, there will still be people that might easily fall prey. So what all these things are aimed to achieve is to curb the number and to reduce it to the barest minimum.
So that is where the problem is. Now, for almost a decade, we're talking about 25 billion naira being lost to Ponzi schemes. Why do Nigerians gullibly keep falling for such antics?
If we look at the demography of Nigeria, you know, we have a lot of poor people. Let me use that word. You have a lot of people that can even barely eat 3 times a day. But you'll be surprised that they are the ones that fall prey of these Ponzi schemes the most. Because, you know, in fact, they could even go as far as sacrificing what they do not have so as to get, you know, high promising returns. And it still boils down to investments, education. Like, for example, if a scheme comes to me and say, they'll give me a return of like 30% in a month, I would pause and start asking questions. This is not possible. So that's why it is important for even investors to always look out for things like, what is the returns they are promising? So is it more than what the government is promising their own investor? Because currently, if you invest in a government instrument, your returns is not up to 20% at the moment. So if there is a scheme promising 30%, 50%, so one should easily flag it as a potential Ponzi scheme. So like I said, the importance of financial education cannot be overemphasized. And you know, there's also the aspect of greed. Like I've said earlier, that Nigerians, if you look at our demography, so you know, people are easily persuaded when it comes to promising high returns. You know, everybody just wants to get rich quick. So most people don't believe in investing as a process that might take time. So that's also a factor that these schemes leverage on.
And we understand that most of these Ponzi scheme merchants use digital wallets and digital platforms to swindle Nigerians. Is this something that fintech companies can do, probably in their own right, to curb this?
So I would say we have a lot of fintech companies in Nigeria at the moment that are even regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, but in as much as we have that, of course, we will definitely have those that are against regulations or that are not even regulated. Because for every good part of the thing, the people would want to take advantage. You know, in as much as fintech is good, it makes transaction easy, it uses data and all of that. So some people will see that as an opportunity to also, swindle investors or people. So I would say one thing that investors can always do, in fact, SEC has gone as far as creating a platform, sec.gov.ng/CMOS. So that's where people can see all registered platforms as far as investment is concerned in Nigeria. So let's say you see a fintech company. So it is very, very important for you to just maybe go to the platform and type the name and confirm if they are licensed by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So like I said, as much as fintech has come with ease of transactions, right? So there will be other people who want to take advantage of that. So like defraud people. So it's just important for us all to be aware.
All right, thank you so much, Oluwatobi Adesonya, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, in a move drawing widespread criticism and concern, South Africa's anti-migrant group Operation Dudula is stepping up its campaign against undocumented foreign nationals. The group, joined by several civil society and organizations, staged a march to the South African Human Rights Commission, a response to the Commission's legal action against the group for allegedly blocking migrants from accessing public health care. The National Department of Health has since condemned the actions of these campaigners who reportedly restricted access to hospitals and clinics in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal, demanding ID documents before allowing patients entry. Now, News Central's Bongani Siziba is at the scene of the protests. We now cross over to her to get more details. Bongani, hope you're doing quite well. Let's have an understanding of what the restriction to the access for healthcare has been and how it's affecting the so-called migrants. Hello, Bongani. Bongani, if you can hear me, let's have an understanding as regards to protest and the lack of access to health care by the migrants.
As you can see, if I could ask my camera guy, Sponelom Kasibe, just to show you what is happening here. Tensions are high here in Johannesburg CBD. In the morning, it was the Operation Dudula marching to the Human Rights Organization to hand over a memorandum. If you could remember very well, last week we did a story whereby Operation Dudula was not allowing foreigners to enter into healthcare facilities. So the Human Rights Organization took them to courts, but now they were marching to the Human Rights Organization. Along the way, they met migrant groups, as you can see the visuals coming on your screen now, waiting for them in the CB districts. So a few minutes ago, tear gas with all over the place, police trying to separate these two groups. As you can see now on my back, the Operation Dudula are now leaving the place, but a few minutes ago, tensions were very high here in the CBD. Migrant groups and anti-foreigner groups are clashing. Anti-foreigners groups saying they have also the rights in South Africa, because we also have foreigners who have documents and those that do not have documents. So the anti-migrant groups cannot separate that. So the Operation Dudula is now moving. But let me try and see if I can get someone to speak to us about what is happening. Good morning, ma'am. How are you? I'm good. What is happening here?
We are being disrespected because of the African National Congress, the mess they've put us in this country. The ANC has allowed this mess, because how do you, as a Zimbabwean, come and have rights in South Africa? Do you find South Africans going to Zimbabwe to have rights, or Mozambique? ANC is a mafia organization ruling over a mafia state. That is what we have become in South Africa, a gangster organization masquerading as leaders wearing suits. This is what they are producing. You want to tell me that it's okay that South Africans must be sleeping on the floor? And you want to tell me that South Africans must get butchered in their squatter camps? 8 South Africans died in Merimi squatter camp. Right now, in Achurchville, there's a Zimbabwean that raped a 12-year-old. Is that the human rights that they are advocating for? That the foreign nationals, their human rights must override the citizens? It's fine that citizens cannot seek healthcare, they must die and not get dialysis and cancer treatments while foreign nationals are doing that. The ANC must fall. The ANC must fall. We are hurtful. We are sick and tired of that mafia organization.
Thank you so much. Let me get some. No, I don't. Okay, she doesn't want to speak, but you just heard from the Operation Dudula there saying that the rights of South Africans must be respected, and they do not want foreign nationals, especially those that are not documented, to access services in South Africa.
Okay, thank you so much, Bongani Siziba. This is an unfolding situation that definitely will continue to keep more details, of course, get them to our viewers. So we hope to connect with you again to get more from you. Thank you so much. And now to Nigeria's economy. Inflation rate has shown a continued downward trend as the headline inflation rate dropped to 22.22% in June 2025 from 22.97% recorded in May 2025. And this marks the third consecutive month of decline, with a marginal decrease of 0.76 percentage points. Despite the easing inflation rate, the consumer price index increased to 123.4 in June, rising by 2.0 points from the previous month's figure of 121.4. Year-on-year, Nigeria's inflation rate saw a significant drop, standing at 11.97 percentage points lower than June 2024's rate of 34.19%. Well, still on Nigeria's inflation easing, Nasir Agdalaya, team lead business desk, is in the popular Mile 12 market in Lagos State, and it will be letting us understand if there's a reflection of this inflation drop on prices of foodstuff in the market. Nasir, good afternoon to you. Well, Nasir, if you can hear me, let's have an understanding of what the prices of commodities in the market is as of now, even as we've heard that inflation has marginally dropped.
I can hear you loud and clear. I am in the popular Mile 12 market in Lagos. It's an open market. And because of the rains that fell today in Lagos, the market just opened, and you can see it is really bursting with life. I've had a lot of people around me before, but it's not an enjoyable to buy stuff. But I have a woman here who sells tomatoes.
Nísìn báyìí 10,000. Jálẹ̀ 9,000.
Bí oṣù karùn-ún ọdún May, bí oṣù karùn-ún ọdún May, a tó bí èrè lè máa ń ta tomato yìí.
Ata ní 13, ata ní 14.
13, 14. Jálẹ̀ nísìnyí báyìí ní 9,000.
9,000.
Ṣé mo ìdí tó fi rí bẹ̀rù tẹ́tẹ́ nígbà tí May yẹn ó jẹ́ 13, 14, nísìnyí ẹ̀ lè ta ní 9, 10,000.
Torí pé òjò yẹn ti ń rọ̀ léra wọn, tójò bá tún ti dáwọ́ sí báyìí nísìnyí. Tomati yẹn tó gbé rẹ̀, bọ̀ tójò bá ti rọ̀.
No, Lekan, there you have it. From what she said in Yoruba, currently now the price of a basket of tomato in this market, Mile 12, sells for between 9 to 10,000 naira. But as far back as May this year, they were selling this same basket of tomato for between 14 to 15,000 naira. Now she explained that because the rains are here now, due to the rains, more tomato are now in the market. So that is why the price is a bit cheaper. Before we got here, we spoke to people who sell onions, who sell pepper. They give us fairly the same reason, that now there's more supply in the market due to the rains. So because of this more supply, yeah, they have more product to sell. invariably the price are falling. But some of them did caution that the price falling is due to several factors. One principal thing which we all agree is the fact that the cost of transportation is one of the determining factors of how much they sell what they are selling in the markets.
Okay, so Nasir, these are perishable goods. I wonder if this price drop is reflective on other commodities, most especially grain, in terms of the prices in the market too. So I just wanted us to do a comparison between prices on perishable goods, and of grains like rice, beans, and maybe gari and some other grains, if this price reduction is reflective on them too. But I think we are having audio issues from Nasir's end, but definitely still in the market, and he will continue to get us more details as regards to the prices of foodstuff in the market. We go on a short break right now. When we return, we'll bring you the rest of the stories. Don't go away. Residents of Doka Mijamas community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State have warned that they will resist attempts by officials of the state government to grab their lands using security operatives. They say that they have continued to face violent assaults and abuse of their fundamental rights by security operatives comprising personnel from the military, the police, and private thugs. While speaking to News Central crew in Kaduna State, they say that despite not being provided with basic amenities, they are left to defend their lands from being taken by Shylock landlords. And so we have Emmanuel Bagudu, who is a correspondent on ground, who will be shedding more light on the situation from Kaduna. Emmanuel, thank you so much for joining us to give us updates on this. Let's have an understanding of the land grab allegations, most especially, of course, have been leveled against the state government officials in Kaduna State.
Yes, it's a very complicated situation. That's a community that has been grappling with insecurity, and then, of course, the government have successfully had a peace deal with the terrorists. And here we are now listening to members of the community, threatening to carry arms because their means of livelihood is being tampered, which is farming, of course. They claim that about 3,000 hectares of land, which they've been farming for decades, is now being confiscated by the military because they have not seen any paper from government, because the allegations they are raising against whoever they're raising to it concerns the military, because they claim that their wives, their mothers, their children have been beaten, punished, harassed and brutalized because of those issues. Now, that's not even the main case. The case they are talking about here is whether or not there's a return of peace in Doka Mejama, which has suffered a lot of issues of kidnapping and banditry. Of course, they told us that that's not the case, because they have lost a lot of people, most recently, and they don't even sleep. Down to, assault injury, the issue of land grabbing now comes in. And the hope that they are not being incited, because we see a lot of youth there, call for the Kaduna State government.
Okay, so Emmanuel, I think we just lost audio communication with you for a while there. But then I'd like to find out, because they accused the military, they accused the Nigerian police and the state government. I don't know if you've spoken or had a word with the Kaduna State government and any of these military top shots to verify these claims by the community members.
Yes. There's a commander, a captain that is in charge of that particular territory. That area is called the Millennium City area. A captain named Idris is the commander of that area, which I have spoken to him. We spoke at length. He told me point blank that he has never harassed anybody, that he has been to that community protecting them from bandits ever since he was sent. After the peace deal was signed. Of course, he said that his duty is to protect the lives and properties of the community members. And now the community members are accusing them of, brutalizing them. Now the community members' anger is, multifaceted. They are angry that they do not have the secondary school. Of course, you can see that the only primary school they have there is dilapidated. They have a health facility without equipment and without staff. Those are their submissions, and they are so angry that this anger is, multifaceted and, can incite them into violence. So it's something that that needs to be taken care of. I've spoken to the CPS, Ibrahim Idris, the Chief Press Secretary to the United States government, who promised to go into a session with the Commissioner for Internal Security. His name is James Kanye, and of course the Kaduna State Geographic Information System, DG, where he said they are going to look at the matter and then revert back to the community members. But for now, the community members say that the military officers are always in their community, threatening them, giving them sleepless night, making them to stay away from those particular properties, or rather get killed. Of course, they've shown evidences of how their siblings, their parents were tear gas and beating married women, of course, children. Those are their words, if I can quote them. Yeah. Thank you.
Before I let you go, Emmanuel, has there been any sort of complaints lodged to the Kaduna State government as regards the lack of basic amenities and infrastructure in that community?
Yes, they claim that they have made a lot of reports, and that of course, most of them believe that the government has failed. They have made their position known on camera. They have made it clear that they will left with no choice. The youth specifically said that they may be forced to take the laws into their hands. That for years there are no facilities, there are no basic amenities, and this is a community that is just a stone throw from the city center. Of course, if you have to follow shortcuts, but if you follow main road, of course it's a bit far, but the community is very accessible from the state capital. And they are saying that they have made complaints several times, and that has not been taken care of. But my little session with the CPS, actually shows that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that he's going to report this case to the appropriate commissioners in charge, because have a session with the community. It's all about follow-up. As things unfold, we're going to get to the community and know what is the current situation. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel Bagudu, for sharing these details with us. We hope that a respite and, of course, some sort of solution will come to these people in that community. It was nice talking to you. Now, we tell you that France is set to formally hand over its last remaining military bases in Senegal on Thursday, marking the end of a 65-year military presence in the country. The withdrawal, which began in March, involves the departure of around 350 French troops who were stationed in Senegal primarily for joint operations with the Senegalese army. The move comes as more African nations reevaluate their military and political ties with former colonial powers. The pullout follows growing pressure from Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who came to power in 2024 on a platform of radical change. Shortly after taking office, he called for a complete withdrawal of French troops by 2025. Unlike their other nations such as Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger Republic, where military juntas have severe ties with France, Senegal has pledged to maintain cooperation with Paris, albeit without a permanent French military presence. In sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons face a high-stakes Women Africa Cup of Nations quarter-final clash against Zambia on Friday at the Larbi Zoli Stadium in Casablanca. The match revives a fierce rivalry, with both teams eager for redemption after the last WAFCON encounter, which saw Zambia edge Nigeria for bronze in 2022. Nigeria, 9-time champions, aim to reassert dominance after South Africa dethroned them as continental leaders. Both squads boast players in the tournament's best 11, including Rasheedat Ajibade and Barbara Banda. With a semi-final spot against South Africa or Senegal at stake, the encounter promises intense competition. Nigeria welcomes back key midfielder Deborah Abiodun, while Zambia enjoys a 5-day rest advantage heading into the showdown.
The Super Falcons of Nigeria are back in training ahead of the crucial WAFCON 2024 quarter-final clash against Zambia on Friday, July 18, with renewed determination to deliver a statement performance. Speaking exclusively to News Central TV, several players admitted the team has not hit top gear, but pledged to display their full potential, both individually and collectively, as they chase a 10th continental title in Morocco. The Falcons' pedigree is under scrutiny following an underwhelming group stage campaign. Nigeria opened Group B with a commanding 3-0 win over Tunisia, edged Botswana 1-0, and settled for the final group match against Algeria. a run that has drawn reaction from journalists and fans alike.
Clean sheets, we've qualified for the quarterfinals. That's amazing. On the other end, when it comes to the transition play for the attack, that's where the challenge has been. Probably because we've not been as slick. We had 22 shots in the last game, for instance, only 2 shots on target. And the one before that, we had double figures of attempts as well. And still, we had less than 5 shots on target. So that's crazy if you want to compare that with the other era. But moving forward, if Algeria, with only just 1 goal, can qualify and nobody's calling them a bust, I think we should show grace also to the Nigerian ladies.
Solid defensively, however, room for improvement when it comes to the final third. We have to get goals. In fact, Nigeria and Algeria, the only team yet to concede. However, we've only scored 4 goals in this competition. 3 of them came in the first game against Tunisia. So I feel like we have to work on our finishing, we have to work on our attack and ensure that we create more chances and we convert those chances that have been created. And now we are facing Zambia in the quarterfinals. The first time Zambia will make it to the semi-finals was at the last WAFCON. You know, this is their 4th appearance at the WAFCON. However, they are yet to claim the trophy, yet to get the gold medal, and I think they'll be aiming for that this time around.
With expectations high, the Falcons know nothing short of an assertive display against Zambia will suffice on Friday. The Super Falcons of Nigeria are back to training after a day break and their barring draw against Algeria in the Group B encounter of the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations. The Super Falcons are gearing up for the quarterfinal encounter against the Copper Queens of Zambia, the first quarterfinal that will take place on Friday. Reports reaching us is that the coach of the side and the backroom staff had a closed-door meeting where they evaluated the Super Falcons' performance in the 3 matches for their Group B encounter at the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations, hoping that they can tighten loose ends, improve on their performance as they go into this encounter against the Copper Queens. Only time will tell if the Super Falcons are indeed very serious about the Mission X campaign. In Casablanca, Morocco, for News Central, I am Onyinyechi Obaro.
And yes, we still have our sports correspondent in Morocco, Onyinyechi Obaro, who will be giving us more updates as regards the Super Falcons' preparations for the quarterfinal berth. Onyinye. Yes, tell us what's it like as regards preparations for the match against Zambia.
All right, thank you so much, Lekha. We just wrapped up the pre-match conference heralding the quarterfinal match between the Nigerian Super Falcons and the Copper Queens right now. Representing the Nigerian team was the coach of the side, Justin Madugu, and Ashley Plumtree, the defender of the Super Falcons of Nigeria. For Coach Madugu, he says the team, they understand the task ahead against the Zambians, and what happened in the 2022 Women's African Cup of Nations stays in the 2022 Women's African Cup of Nations, where Zambia beats Nigeria 1-0 to pick the bronze medal. This is a new terrain. This is a new competition for the 2024 WAFCON, and they are not underestimating the team. They understand their attacking prowess and are ready to go all out against them. The defender also said so that she prepared with her team members, teammates, to maybe curb the high attacking side of the Zambians. For the Zambians, we had the coach, Nora Huttle, and the captain of the side, Barbara Banda, representing the Copper Queens. Coach Nora Huttle understands the defensive prowess of the Super Falcons of Nigeria, and she says they're coming into this game taking 1 game at a time. For Barbara Banda, she's not swayed by the accolades she brings into this competition, being the reigning Women's African Player of the Year. She says that they will take Nigeria and are not scared of Nigeria. They will take Nigeria the way they did in 2022.
Onyinyechi, before I let you go, is there any development regarding the reportedly delayed team kit?
All right. We understand that our source yesterday may have mistook the kits used for the photo shoot as new kits. But clarification from the Nigerian Football Federation communication officer revealed that they were not new kits. That's the current situation of things right now concerning the kits of the Super Falcons.
Thank you so much, Onyinyechi Obaro, for sharing these updates with us. We appreciate that. And that's all on the news at this hour. Don't forget that you can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can follow us on social media too, at News Central TV, and equally watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Arvo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for Lekon. Many thanks for watching, rather. I'm Lekon Obanjo.